was a lot of fun. I'm so happy that we did that.
Yeah.
45-minute breakdown chat. You know?
For a 10-minute story.
For a 10-minute story. Oh, hey, listen, dude. I had a fantastic week. Fantastic. It was wonderful to hang out with David. I hadn't seen him in a while, right? We've been friends for almost two years and maybe a little bit of change. And if you were to put together all the time that we spent together actually in person, it'd be like a month, right? He's a brother of mine. I like that guy a lot, dude. He's just a kick-ass motherfucker, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm proud of him, man. I'm proud of him. I really am. I'll just get this out the way right now. I got to see Killer Instinct David, you know, and he let it out, and I'm like, oh, it was inspirational, you know, because here's the thing, I've been saying this from the very beginning, right? Like you guys are some killers, and I love each and every one of you, and I am so privileged to have you guys as friends, and it just does me well because you guys kicked my ass that second dude episode, after and before, all the talk, all the shit you guys are all hitting me with all my on my goddamn blind spots, you know. And that was a pretty erratic week for me. Erratic. And we had that little bit of a minor loss. We talked about that, you know, with in any case, I'm just fucking happy, guys, man. You guys are some killers, you know, and it does me well because I'm like, each one of you guys bring something to the table, and I'm just happy to be the leader of the team, man. You guys treat me well, dude. You know, because David gave me some really good compliments, and his buddy Eddie that came with us, he said some stuff to me that like really kind of like was not only profound, but like it really hit home in the heart. He's also a good guy, man. I'm really happy that we're putting this kind of like conglomerate of like just good dudes, because that's so rare nowadays. It's not even funny. It truly is not even funny. I think that's that's a part of the wrong what's happening. I think that in what we have created should be obvious. It should be more common, and the fact of the matter, because it's not more common, I think that's leading to like what's actually happening as far as the fabric of our nation right now, right? So there's some higher level stuff that's going wrong. We don't need to get philosophical here, but you guys are some killers, dude. And I love it. I love being amongst you. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I'm not going to sing my own praises, but I know what I'm doing, dude. And I feel good about it. Right. So, but yeah, he let it out, and it was just fucking really, really cool. I've been friends with him for a while, and that was something that I've always kind of found. That was something that because I know he has it in him, you know. And it's not like he's not a pussy, you know what I mean? It's just that you know what I mean by like that next level, just like yeah, and he hit it, you know. I texted him. Where is he at? We're texting quite a bit, but I texted him. I was like, yo, I was like, dude, if I haven't told you, I'm telling you now. I love you, dude. I really do. Bunch of laughing, and then, I'm really proud of you. He had some unfortunate things happen in his life, and we'll talk about that offline. But I told him that I'm happy that and very thankful that I was there. That just kind of helped take his mind off of things, right, while I was in Miami. And I obviously thanked him for the assist because he stepped on a,
Yeah.
And I was like, she was, just a perfect dose of wonderful. I really appreciate you. That's not what I wanted to tell you. Where is it at? Damn it. I assumed that was going to be in that giant paragraph. Okay, here we go. Hey, man, I want you to know I'm really proud of you. You definitely ranked up this week, dude. And I really want to say this is something very important, that it was a fucking honor to witness that the killer in you come out. That was awesome. I told him to dwell on that feeling. That's what you are. I knew you were. You're one OG motherfucker, and you're one of my most favorite friends. I'll talk to you soon, brother, right? Brother dude.
Yeah.
but it was fucking awesome. And I believe in giving the victories to your friends. I really do. I think that's extremely important, right? And shit, what did you texted me something today that was just like, fuck, it was a hitter. Where's it at? Quality people don't want something from you; they want something with you. Dude, that physically moved me. I had to stand up. I was like, damn. I love my friends, dude. They all send me like this cool shit, and I'm like, dude, so much personal growth, right?
I had that thought. You said something. You say is like, we just won't have those problems because like the way we go about things, we just inherently won't have like certain problems. And then I was thinking about like, because you have all these like group of dudes, and there's like this very like special thing that happens where like you don't have all this bullshit and just like you just inherently never have it. And I was like, oh, that's a really good example of like a time where that's the thing. And it's people that want something from you, and it's always like a trade that never happens. There's no magic there. Like it just, they're not your people. They're like trying to get something from you, and you're trying to get something from them, maybe or whatever. But like,
yeah, it's weird. Right? Some even basic stuff, just how they treat your family. If you bring a girlfriend around, just all kinds of just little minor things that you kind of have to deal with just kind of random people, or like what we call half friends, or like the some of the, you know, I don't know what the word is, but you hit the nail right on the top, right? So today's Dude Talks is actually about through your evolution as a man, seeing past the failures and successes, you know, for the lessons, importance, you know, of discussion with the team. And then you added, is failure the best teacher, or do we just repeat our wins without discernment? Which I thought was an interesting thought as well. But let's just start as the evolution, right? Like, let's just start from the beginning, because I remember one of the first decisions that I made to just be, you know, more OG. We had moved to Utah, and I was kind of always just generally kind of aggressive. I just wanted to be better, dude, just always, right? But this kind of came to a realization. There's two things that happened. Three things. Number one, my brother, I said something to somebody that was just mean and unnecessary, and my brother looked at me. He's like, "Why would you say that?" And it hit me. It hit me harder than a lot of things that normally do. And I was like, you know, you're right. That. I learned my 15-second rule then and there, and I was like, you've been around me when some stupid shit happens. I'm not. I am ruthless in ending stupid shit. Period. Unacceptable. Not okay. You know, I remember I was having this conversation with this girl. We were at La Provence having a good time, and something to that effect kind of happened. I was like, nah, no, this is not. No, I'm going to shut this whole goddamn thing down.
Yeah.
Number two, I was suffering from the idea that like I was just not good enough because I got into a car accident. I ended up getting like a reckless driving ticket. Without jumping into that story, it was some bullshit, man. Definitely was should not have occurred. But you know, it kind of did. Sure, I would say that I can't not take away all responsibility over myself. Like I do take responsibility. I worked my ass off, paid the debts, got the Jeep fixed up, Diego, you know, things of these nature. But the consequences that happened was way overrated. It shouldn't have hit that hard, right? And it kind of sunk in me, and I thought it was just a failure. And I remember I was having a conversation with one of our other buddies. His name was Tyler. We call him Steel. And we sat down, we talked for like 2 or 3 hours, and he's just like, dude, you're a good man. You know, you helped me. And he listed off all these things that I helped him out with. He's like, what are you talking about? And like, I let it go. That's when I was like, self-talk matters, right? I started talking to myself differently. And, you know, number three, I really learned to pick better friends, and that my 3 best friends at the time abandoned my brother and I. And that hurt. That wasn't right. And but when we ended up moving from Utah to Oregon, you know, a year or 2 later, or whatever it was, because I was going to college out there. I had to start from scratch, right? So But those 3 lessons I really learned kind of gave me like the kickoff point to be like, okay, there's no piece of knowledge. If there's anything that you want in your life, someone has done it. Someone probably wrote a book about it. Someone is selling a course about it, and you can learn the principles and how to change and or attain the goal. Right?
Yeah.
And I remember I had that realization, and I truly believe that 100% wholeheartedly right now. Wholeheartedly, you know? And I don't think that I realized what my purpose is as a man on this earth until much later, but I really took that to heart, and you know, I was like, I need to find a good set of dudes that I can build. Because I was always told that if you want to go far, you have a team. If you want to go fast, you go by yourself. You know, and then if you take that in combination of the whole like rising tide raises all ships. You know, I've realized in my life, the more I hustle, and the better I do. For whatever reason, my family does better, my friends do better, the people around me do better. And when I'm not getting after it like as hard as I possibly can, and I'm kind of being a piece of shit, I look around me and I feel like everybody also is kind of like pushing their foot on the brakes, letting the pedal off the gas. And you know, I just think that's my responsibility. That's the unwritten law that the good Lord put in my heart, that it's my imperative to push, to be better, to challenge my buddies to be better, to get the fuck after it, to pay your goddamn dues. You know, the whole pay and due bit, of course, we know, you and I know, it's relatively pretty new to our lives.
Right.
But that's kind of like I would if I were to take a snapshot of like a real zoomed out view of what I consider to be the evolution of how I came to be. Right, because there's a lot of lessons in there, right? A lot of failures, a lot of ups and downs, some deep valleys, but we had some mountainous victories too, right? And right now we're on this whole nother plane. You know, I think that we let go of a lot of just weight that was just unnecessary, right? To kind of flip it back to you, how would you describe some of your evolution, and what was some of the beginning lessons that really, I guess, just started the engine, really?
Yeah, I mean, it all comes back to like when like senior in high school, working at the tire shop with, and then like you showed up, and there was like that whole like unwritten rivalry between me and that other guy that came in with me.
Yeah.
And then I learned a lot about like playing the game. That was like the lesson there. It was like, yeah, one guy, and his shtick is he's like super trendy, and so like if it's in vogue, he's doing it, and then he's telling people what they want to hear, and he's just like he's just maneuvering, and he's just like, you know, and tell one guy one thing and tell another guy the other thing, but it was all tactfully to maneuver. And I was winning there, man, and I just did whatever happened to happen. I just like didn't care, didn't matter, and I wasn't playing the game, and it showed. Like I didn't get anywhere. We definitely put in a lot of work, just like separate from that ecosystem.
Yeah.
And
I mean, feel free to, if you want, talk about it. You don't have to be you know, coy, I guess. Yeah, I mean, you can tell your story. You don't have to go all in detail, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that was kind of the gist, you know. Like, then I left for a little while, and then I went and worked for somebody else, and just amazing experience. Like really good leader. He like saw potential in me, and then I was like, oh my god, there's people out there that'll like see value in you, and then you work really hard, and they give you a bunch of experience, and they just like pull you aside and they start teaching you shit. They're like, are you doing anything right now? No. It's like, cool. I'm just gonna, like, you got a free hour. I'm just gonna sit here and like teach you shit. And
that's good. I'm really happy that he came into play, right? Because, dude, I was having those nightly talks with you for hours, dude. We would stay up, it's fucking raining outside, the back of my Jeep.
Yeah, with the hatch open, dude. I remember that. We just like sit there. It's like
some good times.
You're just talking at me.
Yeah, true. That is true.
But
you didn't know nothing, dude. I had to brainwash you, dude. I had to get all that. The solution of pollution is dilution, you know.
Yeah, but then started working for Brad, and then Brad hooked me up, and he made a very fatal mistake. Is he he started telling everybody else in the company how awesome I was, and then him as a new boss, somebody with a little bit more pull pulled me over to the other store, and then the dude with more pull was just a garbage human being.
I hate that motherfucker, dude. I hate that motherfucker.
Yeah, over pissed me off. And then long story short, I kept playing the game like I was working for Brad, which was not the case. I did not understand bobbing and weaving yet. I was just like, oh, just do the right thing all the time and you'll be okay. But you got to bob and weave too.
You got to bob and weave too, yeah.
Yeah.
Because some people are not on your team, man.
Yeah.
Some people are not on your team.
And I think that was the huge lesson there, is that you got to understand that you can be cool with people or just like chill or whatever, but they're not on your team. Just because you're just because you got to like be in the same space and have small talk doesn't mean they're on your team.
Yeah.
And that was a huge
right things too. The basic core of it, you were doing all the right things for him. He's just a piece of shit leader. I mean, that's the guy that, the reason why I don't work there anymore is for that particular guy too. You got me to quit as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how your quitting went, but when I sat him down for that 20-minute conversation, I'm a straightforward kind of man,
Yeah.
And I let him know exactly how I felt. That store, when I quit, that store killed 13 employees. I don't know how in the hell they still let that guy work there, because they brought him from Seattle down here. And if he was doing, the reason why they brought him down is because he was doing that stupid shit up there too.
Yeah. Well, there was the turning point for what got me out of there was, which I didn't even realize that it was so commonplace for this guy just to like blow me up and chew me out anywhere and everywhere. Like it didn't matter. Like it didn't faze me, or like it wasn't new. But one day, some concerned patron saw this guy just blow me up for what they thought was no reason, and they went to his boss and then complained about it. And somehow they knew each other or whatever, and complained about like, oh, you can't. If you're the boss, you can't be treating people like this. Like this is unacceptable, especially in front of like people trying to spend money there. And I was gone the next day.
It's unprofessional.
Yeah.
Anytime I yelled at you, what did I do? I pulled you aside, or I pulled you behind the store.
Yeah.
And chewed your ass out, and then we went back to work like nothing ever happened. Right?
Yeah.
Like you don't do that in the showroom, or like he's just a terrible leader in every regard, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to chew your guys out.
I mean, that's the thing, it's not, I don't take personal offense for getting chewed out. If you wanted to have a conversation, didn't talk to me about it, that's one thing. You want to yell at me about it, that's okay too. That's fine. Like grown ass adults, I get it. But like,
yeah, there's time and place to do it.
But it's time. Yeah. Tact is
you do it privately behind a closed door, man to man, mano y mano. You don't do it in front of the entire shop and a bunch of other patrons, because it wasn't even about you. It was about his own ego that he won the flash. Like, I'm in charge. That's the worst way that is the worst things you can do as a leader.
Yeah.
He's not a leader. He's just not. He happens to be.
He's just not. He's positionally a manager, and that's it. In name only.
100%.
But I learned a lot of things about like how to not handle things. It was like a really prime example of like, this is what happens when you do like unethical side of things. When you do, not really. It wasn't always unethical things, but this is how when you run it this way, it goes this way, and that was the lesson learned there. Is it's like, why do they have all the problems that only exist at this store? Why is that? Well, it's because they let this slide, and they work things this way, and like at Brad's store, if there was somebody that like didn't like refuse to work, and you just send them home. They're like, if you're not going to work, you just go home.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
And it was like I think it was twice where somebody was like, I'm not working today, blah blah blah. I was like, all right, cool, fuck off, go home. I don't give a fuck. I'll pick up your slack. All the work you were going to do today, I'll just do it instead. I'll do mine annually.
I don't need some fucking half-ass motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I sent plenty of people home, dude.
But then we had the same thing happen at the other store, and I was like, yeah, dude, this dude doesn't want to work. Can I send him home? And the dude's like, no, he needs to make him work. It's like, what do you want me to do? You want to break his legs till he works? Like,
yeah.
What do you want from me? And I came to him like 3 times. I was like, every time I give him something to do, I catch him outside, like hiding behind the dumpster, like just like just tell him to go. Eventually, he finally was like, eventually broke him down to the point where he's like, okay, fine, send him home. But it took him like 4 hours. You paid this guy 4 hours to do nothing. It blows my mind. But that was cool.
After that's when you got transferred back to 185th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that was just like a downward spiral from there. I think we started working out. That was when we first started working out, actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't call that a downward spiral. I call it an upward spiral.
Well, the working out was an upward spiral, but the career was a downward spiral.
Oh, you realized you didn't want to be there, right? And you went somewhere else.
Yeah, and then that had its own pros. It's just every up has a dip, and then it comes up even more, and then dips down a little bit, and it goes up even more. Progress isn't like a smooth line up. It's like up, get your ass kicked, but you don't fall all the way down. You just come down a little bit, and then you go back up. And
100%. 100%. I think like you being able to handle those like micro dips, and the better you can handle that micro dip, even if it does dip down a little bit lower, you're like, fuck, why did it go down to so low? But like you just bounce right back up, right? Like keep, ask yourself, did you have a good workout? Are you sleeping well? Sometimes it just comes down to some like really basic stuff.
Yeah. I know if I can't like micro correct on my own, I know every once in a while somebody will a lot of my like friends won't tell me things because they think I'm like too hard headed to say something. But then sometimes when I'm like already like trying to like figure out what I'm doing wrong, and then they'll be like, hey, I know you don't want to hear this or whatever, and then they'll tell me what I need to hear. And I never like agree with them directly because I'm not that mature yet. But in my mind, I'm like, you know what, I probably should adjust.
That's funny. Well, your other, the friends that you typically spend time with, obviously they're your younger crew, right? So they're still on their kind of growth path as well. Right? Because I think you were the youngest out of all, out of us.
Yeah.
I think it goes you, Aiden. Aiden and my brother are about the same age. I think Sammy might be 1 year older.
Yeah.
And then it goes, myself and David.
Yeah.
Right. But that's almost a span of almost 10 years of separation between all of us. Right.
Yeah.
Or 7 years.
Yeah.
That's a big dip, right? I mean, shoot, you at 23 and me at 23, totally different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we've talked about it before, dude. I mean, we've been talking about shit so much at a much higher level when I was at a much younger age, and I've just been playing on fast forward,
Yeah.
And now we've been working up fast enough to where, and we're starting to hit the same level.
Yeah, I never thought of myself. I mean, sure, you can call me your mentor, and I say I'm fucking extremely thankful for that. I will never say no to that. I've always thought of myself like we're on the same path. I just happen to be a little bit more ahead. And I was like, come on, man, let's pick up. Yeah. Pick up the pace. You know what I mean? Like, move, right? That's just the kind of guy that I am, though, right? So, but I always knew you had it in you, and you have. I have deep pride in you as a friend. Deep pride, and I'm proud of all my guys, but you most definitely I'm most proud of, right? Of course, the most recent victory out of David, that was like, damn, I'm proud of you, David. I got to witness that growth. I was there, real time, cutting edge, and I think a part of the reason why I love you the most is like I knew where you were, and now I get to see where you are and where you're going, and I'm like, fuck, yeah, as a selfish man, I love when my guys win,
Yeah. The thing with David though, I think I wonder maybe it's my own ego talking, but I think when David saw like not you're not crazy anymore, that like you're not the only one that's this like crazy killer, super direct and super aggressive dude, and then he's like, oh, there's other people like him, so it must be okay. If he's not the only one that's this much of a killer, like, oh, it's okay. And then now he like let go just a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a perfect way to describe it, honestly. Because like we talked about you a little bit over the week, Talk about Aiden a little bit too. Because like you sent me some stuff while we were over there, and you know, if it's something good, I'm going to share it with the team, right? And obviously, I'm with David, you know, for 5 days, 6 days. I'm going to tell him, you know, what we're talking about. He's like, Jacob. They're like, oh yeah, I know Jacob now, right? Like, yeah. It was cool, man. Yeah, but evolution is something that to really be thought about, right? So like for you, the listener here, you have to move forward. You cannot, do not let yourself go backwards, because backwards is death.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. Is death. If you don't go forward, you die. You know, it's like, you know, life is battle royale to the middle.
On some level, you want to get like philosophical. It's almost worse than death, because death, at least it ends. But what you're doing is you're eroding your character.
Yeah,
you're eroding the deepest parts of what you know. Being that I'm a man of faith.
You can't laugh about it. It's not a joke.
Well,
I know why it's funny.
Thank you. You can't, if you're put on this earth, and I think everyone has a capability, of course, for both evil and good. And this is something I actually want to bring up right after this point. Let me pull it up right now before I lose it. Choosing to do what's worse than death is, I think, part of the reason why a lot of people have like anxiety, or they have these like really weird, deep, frenetic psychological issues, is because they chose to go backwards more than forwards. And what I mean by moving forward, like, sure, we have failures, we have stupid shit that happened to us, we're all hurt. I've been hurt. You've been hurt. You know, but if a battle wound can heal. You choosing to move backwards is like allowing that wound to stay open and to let it fester and to get infected. And if it gets infected, well, you get blood poisoning. And you get blood poisoning, that seeks into your soul. And that's even more difficult to get rid of. You need like fucking help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sure, sometimes the healing process, it ain't a fun time. You know? And sometimes you got to go out of your goddamn way to fucking dig yourself out of this pit that you fell into, right? But you can never ever think to yourself it's gonna stay that way. Even if you have that thought, like when you get sick, you're like, oh, I'm always gonna stay sick. It'll never be different. Yeah. But when something really shitty happens to you, and like you hurt to your deepest part of yourself, your heart is heavy, and you have that pit, that sickness in your innermost core, and you can't breathe right, you can't think, you can't function well. You know, shit's just not square. And you're like, how can this happen? You have to just fucking march forward. You have to be utterly ruthless in your progression. Personally, for me, I always start my fucking ruthless progression at the good old fucking temple. Right?
The House of Iron.
The House of Iron, right? Now the gods of
we're on the topic of the topic of like life lessons and things like that, and how we got to be where we're at. And there's this one story. I was too young to remember it, but there was this one story that my old man tells me. And we we used to go like hiking and stuff like all the time, backpacking. We'd like, you know, carry all the stuff in and then camp and then carry all the stuff out. And I was maybe like 6 or something at the time. We go to this lake, and it's like 6 miles in and 6 miles out, but it's like a one-way like switchback up this like log road to get to the trailhead. And my mom dropped us off, and then she was gonna pick us up in like 2 more days or whatever. And she like was like, I'm not coming all the way back to get you. So she's like, I'm not going up this 1-lane road. So you're gonna have to like hike out and then go all the way down this like switchback, and then like across this bridge, and then over to like this gas station or something. That was like an extra like 5 something miles. And my old man, like we got to the parking lot, and I was like, oh my god, it's over. Like, oh, this is so hard. And then my old man's like, okay, we're only halfway there. Like I lied, like he didn't tell me that we were gonna have to go there and then go like twice as far. And he's just like, you just put one foot in front of the other, and you just fucking do that.
Keep fucking moving forward, man. You don't keep moving fucking forward. That's it. You got no choice.
Yeah.
He sent this to me today. Actually, he texted me today. He said, because I sent out a few things today, right? But one of the things he sent back in response is actually worth saying. So to what you said about quality people don't want something from you, they want something with you. He said that's true. Relationships shouldn't always be transactional. The best relationships are those that's given without needing a transaction. Yeah. And I think one of the reasons why we're good friends, or any of my boys or my guys, we don't think in those terms.
Yeah.
We know that all we're doing is investing in each other, and it just keeps paying dividends, right? Because all of us are taking action on the things that we've given. Anyways, he said massive change is on the other side of darkness, and that matches exactly what we're talking about right now. You just have to just believe. You have to have an irrational fucking idea that after all this effort and more effort, and the very end, like beyond even that effort, past the dark tunnel, eventually light does arise, right? And I think that quote that I sent you today on the IG really illustrates that too as well. Let me pull that up. About always go too far, because that's where you'll find the truth. I don't know who this Albert Camus is, but I'll have to, of course, look him up. But
yeah,
that's
a good line. That's,
you know what I mean.
But to go off of something you said earlier, you were talking about how sometimes when something bad happens and then you get real dark and your stomach gets heavy and everything.
Hold on. Internet.
Are we back?
Yeah, I think we're good now.
Right.
Okay.
But you were talking about how like it's this bad thing when bad things happen and you get real dark and you go real down. But sometimes, that lasts for like half a second, and then all of a sudden you just start winning. Like you're like, this sucks, so I'm just gonna start winning. And there's like that sharp uptick that comes after like the micro down that I think is underappreciated. So, yeah, I mean, it's like on the other side of the darkness. You go and it gets dark and it gets shitty. But like the other side of that is just it all ends like all at once. You like come out of the storm and it's just over, and then it's just like sunny day is good to go.
Yeah, 100%, dude. I think so. The best film that I think really teaches that lesson is a movie called The Hustler. It's about a professional pool player, or he's like a pool player that gambles or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And he's playing against one of this is like in the beginning to middle of the movie. He's playing against this guy. He's taking all his money, and he keeps being at it, right? The main character. Eventually, the enemy in the movie, i.e. the guy he's trying to beat, they've been playing for like 14, 15 hours or something like that, all through the night. It's in the morning, and he was just losing and losing and losing and losing. So they take a half break. He goes to the bathroom, untucks his shirt, goes to the sink, washes his hands, washes his face, fixes his hair, looks back into the mirror, buttons his shirt back up, retucks his shirt in, puts himself back together, reset, boom. You know what happened right after that? That first game, he wins. He wins again. He wins back all his money and puts the other guy deeper than he ever was beforehand, right? So I really took that lesson, because I've had my own failures in life, even when I was out and about, learning the game. One of my most favorite victories that I had, I did the exact same thing. I went to the bathroom, washed my hair, washed my face, fixed my hair, did the exact same behavior, reset completely, and pretty good guess rest of the evening, right? That was just when I was by myself out and about. That was when a real young man then, you know. I definitely wouldn't compare it to what I experienced in Miami. Because Miami was fucking fantastic, you know, and fucking tastic. But so when you get low, or when you're exploring like the dark side of yourself, right? A part of the personal growth, a part of your evolution as a man, you need to understand your capacity for good. I think you need to understand what impact you can make, not only on day-to-day people, but the people that spend more time with you. And if you want good people around you, you have to create enough of a density, enough of a large enough star of sunlight, of radiance, to pull in other planets, other suns, you know what I mean? Other guys that are fucking reflecting it back to you and giving also the same vitality. But in that, understanding your capacity for good, I think it's also important to understand your capacity for evil. You know, we talk about having a dark sense of humor and things of that nature. And listen, I've said some shit that was probably not okay, you know?
You don't need the probably.
Yeah, well, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in thinking about it, right? Because learning about your own capacity for evil will help you eliminate it in yourself and defend against it around you. Because evil, or like a better word would be like the dark side of things, because war is dark, right? But having the capacity to go to war, to defend your brothers, and to eliminate the enemy, you need to have something different in here, in the heart, and something different up here. And you need to have everything fucking squared away from head. You know, we talk about having thoughts, words, and actions. If that happens, you can solidify your within the realm of evil, and you can survive through it. But you need to understand your capacity for darkness, your capacity to potentially walk that razor's edge between doing the right thing that's hard and then doing the thing that's evil, right? Like, you never commit evil. Don't do the wrong thing. Period. There is a fine line when violence is no longer the thing that was actually necessary. You actually went too hard there. You actually owe that person an apology. You know what I mean? There's a time and place for everything. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason to just go to Starbucks and just insult the guy because you just don't like him. It's just unnecessary. The conversation I had with that security guard at 11 when I was hanging out with Savannah, you know, and he wanted to get violent with me, you know, and I looked him directly in the eyes. I'm like, "What are you doing, dude?" You know.
I like your take on the story, but I think also the other thing is you have to think about where you are and who he is. If anything gets shysty, the bouncer ain't coming up to you asking you nicely to stop doing weird stuff. They always lead the same way, and that's what they lead with. And then you diffuse that standard response, and you hit it with an unstandard. The signal he hit was the standard, bouncer move, and then you hit the atypical. Like, no rowdy customer is handling it that way. That nobody squares up to the bouncer and then says, "Hey man, this is my fault." That, like, the body language didn't match the words, and that's the alpha move.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. I mean, shit, because what he's dealing with stupid ass people all day long. Why would I be any different?
Yeah, until, like Aiden says, until you open your mouth, nobody knows until you say something. You know?
Yeah, I mean, well said, Aiden. Thanks for telling us. You know,
Yeah,
you know, everyone's handling some stuff right now, right? So it's just the two of us tonight, which I'm thankful for. It gives a different feel, different vibe to the whole conversations, right? To the whole dude to us. But yeah, I think understanding your capacity for the dark side of yourself is extremely important. You know, because it really, if we talk about this whole building a kingdom idea, I think understanding your dark side is having your military ready, is having the moats ready, and the deeper you understand it, the better the technology you have to defend against the onslaught of the enemies that try to broach your city. You learn a new thing about yourself because you explore that side of you, and you unlock a catapult, you unlock some new fucking weapon, right? But because you saw it, you know it, you understood it, and you're like, okay, I can defend against it now.
And I like how you definitely say dark and evil in two different meanings, or you pick which word to use. I mean, because you're like no evil but darkness. It's like, and I see what you're saying. Because like darkness is like violence or like lie, cheat, steal, and then evil is like lie, cheat, steal, violence for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing: people of the world who decide to subscribe to us and listen. Now, Jacob and I have been friends for a very long time, right? And so we understand what we mean by those words, right? So I recommend that you keep on listening, and eventually you'll learn by by osmosis, by all the things that we say, right? So take it for whatever it's worth, right? That's really all I got to say about it. But yeah, I think the evolution of a man is something that you should think about your evolution, and then give yourself the victories. Listen, you ain't the same person you were fucking 10 years ago. I mean, shit, everyone always talks about like, oh, if I knew what I do now when I was 15, I would be totally different. The best time to plant a tree is today. No, best time to plant a tree was yesterday. The next best time, today. You already know. And I thought a really interesting thought that I had said to you in one of our morning gym sessions is like, on some level, I think about life as like, I'm only here. Like, what if you just showed up just now and every memory that you had was just a download?
Yeah.
And today is your starting point. Right? You load up your character from a pre-saved location.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thought to have as you're trying to do what? Move forward your evolution. All right. And your evolution, of course, is dictated based on your goals. I recommend that you change your input in the things you listen to, because that will change your thoughts. And if your thoughts change, that will change your actions. And when your actions change, that leads to your destiny as opposed to your destruction. And that's something to really be conscious of. So when you talk about the evolution of yourself, you want to be up here, don't listen to the ideas that don't serve you. If it doesn't serve you, get it the fuck out. Don't think about it no more. Move on. Accept it. If you have to kind of like sulk in it a little bit, sure, do that, but don't stay there, because they ain't gonna fill you with more fuel.
Yeah, and that's
right?
why we use the word the enemy. People earn the title the enemy because of things like that, because because you don't, they're the enemy. They don't belong. They shouldn't even show up on the radar. You shouldn't, what they say doesn't matter.
100%.
I mean, it's also easier said than done, right? I mean, you're basically saying like when things go awry, just get over it, move on. Like, oh God, nobody ever thought of that before. But taking action and saying it are is the difference.
Yeah, David and I talked about leadership last week, and sometimes you just got to start small. Maybe it just starts with you fixing your bed every day. I mean, shit. After I got rid of My enemy.
Yeah.
She who will not be named, Miss Voldemort. We talked about the 100-day plan. And for 100 days, I hustled harder than I probably ever have my whole life. And you and I had some ruthless workouts, And I think that when bullshit happens in your life, imagine it as fuel and it's being thrown into the fire. And if it hurts, it's because you're not hot enough. Turn up the heat. Be better. Yeah. And if it lasts a day, it lasts a day. If it lasts 2 days, if it lasts 2 months, if it lasts fucking 2 years, you have to continue to march forward at an irrational pace until you get so far ahead that all the pain that you had is forgotten. And maybe not even forgotten, but just lost, as if it was myth.
Yeah. It's a tale. It's not even, it isn't a past reality. It's just it's a legend.
It's a legend. You cannot stay there. And it is your responsibility to get the fuck out. Period. Done.
Yeah, the R word is a huge missing key. That you're responsible. That's what you got to do. When you talk about like level 1 shit, that's like some level 1 shit. Is like it is your responsibility to like correct the bullshit. If you got all this like baggage that you're clinging to or whatever, it's your responsibility to get rid of it. By any means necessary. Yeah, whatever you got to do. If you got to go win, if you got to go make $1 million, if you got to go, spin 10 supermodels, it don't matter. Like whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. You have to have an irrational hunger, like a need, right? Like just this like infectious idea that it has to grow as if it was cancer. Just it has to metastasize, and you just have to keep fucking feeding it, right? To you got to get it out of you. You got it.
Yeah.
Right. If it. Oh, let's just go back to the cold cancer idea. Flip it, in that this evil that was injected in you, poison, this raw, infectious, disgusting hatred of a poison has been put inside you. What is the solution to pollution? Dilution. And so therefore, you must do so much good for yourself in every goddamn capacity you can think of, every way possible. You tell your fucking best homies, you change everything. Everything. To make it out.
Yeah.
You make it out, and look at us, man. Shit. Feels good being a winner, brother.
It does.
Fuck good.
You said it a week ago. You were a little upset, and then I had a phone call come in. But yeah, you said it a week ago. You were like, oh, this micro loss, and you're talking about this failure and whatnot. And then at the end of that sentence, you were like, well, I'm going to Miami next week or whatever. And I'm sure something good will come out of that. And then what did you do? You found another nursing student who did all the things that the last one didn't do. It's crazy how that works out.
Yeah, there are people who are on your team, man.
Yeah.
And I think one of the greatest compliments that I received out of that whole thing, she said, "Thank you for saying hi. I'm so appreciative that you said hello." I'm like, fuck,
Well, it also vindicates the thing we say. It's it's you're obligated to go make her life better. Like by you saying hi, you're like improving, and that's exactly what it is. It's like, you know, you made her whole trip. She went out to Miami just to party and have a hot girl summer, and she found this half brown, half amazing dude, and
this apex Roman, good to go. This amalgamation of fucking gangster.
yeah.
Brown. I love this idea that we've been saying. Like we've been, you know, we used to say random before, like brown man or tall white guy.
Yeah.
For the, but what I like in the next evolution of that is that we say now, at least for me, I recommend that you start saying it. Listen, I might be a random brown man now, but I will be the best brown man you've ever known. You know, and I think that's fucking right. Like, let's go to the gym now. You know, I'm ready. I'm ready. So
I almost don't even like discredit myself like that anymore. It's like I don't even like I just like assume familiarity, like I'm just kind of like
yeah,
from the verbiage.
I like that as well. I like that. I've been kind of playing with that a little bit actually. We're on the same page. I don't know if you can see, dude. I could feel the connection there.
I was like, is it a unicorn? Like, is he trying to tell me he's a mythical creature now?
All right, let me pull this up. We'll go to the next topic here.
Yeah.
And then we beat the shit out of that. Let's see. Okay, so seeing past the failures and successes for the lessons. So I guess to compound what we've already been saying is that these failures that happen to you have to really look at them rationally, and break them down with your team, because the gyms, the gyms and the little lessons are there, and you have to mine for them, right? You gotta bring those things out. And once you find those lessons, you take them and you apply them. You take the victories, you find out what you did right, you double down on it. You take the failures, you find out what you did wrong. You don't do those things again.
Yeah.
You know, or you find out what, like, you were trying to do the thing that you learned previously because that was a success, but then you realize it was that successful principle that you created actually wasn't a successful principle. It just so happened to work out properly.
Yeah.
You have to continue to refine everything. Nothing's off the table. Nothing's worth not changing. Now, granted, you and I have taken so much action in life that we kind of have a pretty goddamn good gist of what the actual laws are for success and how we define it. And that just takes time. That takes time and massive action, right? And the reason why we say massive action is because we wanted to get to those lessons faster. I don't want to wait till I'm 65 to know what to do right.
Yeah. Well, we're greedy as fuck.
Be greedy. Get more, right?
Yeah.
You know, fuck. You want to love harder. You want to rage longer. You know, it's just, we only have one life.
Yeah. And who knows how long it lasts?
I mean, shit. You and I are gonna die.
Guaranteed facts.
The odds of us becoming the first immortals is so it's not, there has never been a one out of all the human beings that have ever lived, not a one ever lived as an immortal.
Yeah.
You know, there it is. So that's that.
That was a very strong tangent just to end.
And then let's pull up what you talked about. So the last thing that you said is failure the best teacher, or do we just repeat our wins without discernment? which I thought was a really interesting thought, because it really, jumps on what I had just previously said. But yeah, lead the way.
Yeah, and I think you kind of covered that too without even thinking it. Is it's like, you know, if you're just dumb and you're just going through life and you're just like, if anything goes wrong, I don't do that anymore. If anything goes right, I just repeat that until that goes wrong, and then I don't do that anymore. And eventually you get to a point where there's a little more logic behind it, and but it's easy to focus on like, oh, these are the failures. This doesn't work. This is like when things go bad. That's when you have the most change. But then also, do you have just good things in life that you just like gravitate to the good things because they're comfortable or nice or they make you feel good or they're a good story to tell your homies, um, and and that's just kind of where that balance comes in because I think it's much more perspective than anything.
Okay. I took it like sometimes a failure will happen and you make a principle on it and you never question that principle ever again. That's like choosing. Let's say, for instance, you talk to a girl and it goes poorly, and so you say to yourself, "I'm never going to talk to a girl ever again because that one broke my heart."
Yeah.
Or you started sales and your first sale goes so bad it just like I'll never be a good salesman. I'll never do sales ever again. It's just like, but you take that and you take like some of these like little wins, right? Like let's just say you win at gambling, and let's say you win at gambling a lot, and then all of a sudden you start to lose, and you keep doubling down on it because of the original principle, right? Because you're going off your previous wins when you should have been like, okay, I need to be a bit more principled about this in that there are limits and there are factors that you have to consciously be aware of to think about in order to limit the dips and to keep the wins going forward. There's good bets and there's bad bets. Stop making bad bets, dude. You know what I mean? What the fuck are you doing? That's kind of how I read that, honestly. That was interesting how you answered that.
I like what you're saying about it's like when you're brand new, all the corrections are super coarse. You're going this way and that way, and you're really hard corrections. But every time you make a correction, you have a little bit less degree on it because you're getting closer and closer to the truth. So you don't sway very hard.
Yeah, and even then, I think the only thing that I would disagree on how you're saying it is just like and the way that I perceive what you were saying was it ultimately it'll lead to your demise. What you're kind of describing to it is it's like, sure, you had some really harsh course corrections, but eventually you'll find the truth, which is true. You should constantly be course correct. The best way to do it, of course, is to have a team of guys that you can break it down Barney style, and you guys are actively challenging everything, right? You read, you go to courses, you get out there, you autocorrect real time. You can't assume that you're going to be horrible. Every woman in the world is horrible because one mistreated you.
Yeah,
that's just dumb.
Well, and we also know that you have to swing through things. That if every time you go to try something new, you're gonna suck and it's gonna go wrong. Especially with something with a really high learning curve, you're gonna show up and you're just gonna get screwed.
Yeah, snowboarding, dude. I was beat the fuck up. I kept falling, right?
Yeah, but nobody ever got good at snowboarding when they quit snowboarding.
Yeah, you can't get a black belt in jiu-jitsu without getting you'll get choked out.
Yeah,
10,000 times before you're really good, right?
Yeah.
That whole 10,000 hour thing from Malcolm Gladwell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I think you just have to have enough like life experience to know when to pull back and when to just try it again. Because the free things, it's like a pickup's free. Like you can walk up and talk to somebody for free. It doesn't cost you anything. All that currency is all in your head. All that like embarrassment, like you just turn that shit off. There's like a setting in the menu. You just like turn off embarrassment, and then you go talk to the next one.
Yeah. Well, I always think of good old Winston Churchill, right? OG,
The dude.
right? He said, "You must go from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. You must go to each new situation as if it was the first one ever." In attitude, of course, right?
Right.
That means a lot.
Yeah.
Period. And then you need to understand the Stoics in that you must allow pain to pass through you without it affecting you. You must be stoic in the way that pain hits you.
Yeah.
You cannot allow it to affect with an A upon you, right? Because the body controls the emotions, but the emotions give the body its actions, right? So if you want to change your emotions, well, maybe you just have to start taking the right actions, even though you don't. The whole like fake it till you make it kind of bit. You know what I mean? Like if you feel lazy and shitty, and you just force yourself to go on that run, to go to the gym, to go do the thing. While doing the thing, your body's going to be like, well, since we're going to do it anyway, we might as well feel good doing it.
Yeah.
And then your emotions will change because of the actions that you've taken. Right? That's really important too.
Well, that's why on a foundational level we say do the things. Yeah. If no matter how good, how new, how shitty you are, how badly the first try cost you, you just do the things. You always do the things.
Just do the things.
It's real simple. Do the things or die. It's your choice. If you want to die, that's totally cool with me. It's all good, man. Yeah. You're not the first person to do it.
And you won't be the last.
No, everybody dies. Some people die before their body dies, but that's cool too. It reminds me of a meme I sent my father today. It was like talking about how millennials have like as a group they've coordinated to like decide that working is wrong and that they're fighting against it. And I sent that to my dad, and I'm like, I'm really not sure what their perspective is or what the takeaway is supposed to be. But all I read is that I got a whole lot less competition than I thought I did. It's like if my goal is to outwork everybody, then if it's in vogue to not work hard, then that's good with me, man.
I had that conversation with my father today, actually, funny enough. I said, let's just say worst case scenario. We lose. America loses. We survive the war, my father and I. Immediately following that, if we don't get killed in the first wave or whatever it is, they're gonna choose us. Because you need people who make shit happen. In any government, in any society, those people are always needed, regardless.
Yeah.
Period.
No, I mean, say everybody's got to eat. Somebody's got to provide. It's got to come from somewhere. There's no magic bean. There's no, Garden of Eden. Somebody fucked that up and ate the fruit.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, P.S. We're not even blaming women. You know whose fault it was? It was the dude who wasn't watching the perimeter.
Yeah.
It's his job to protect the fucking garden, and he wasn't protecting it.
Yeah, we've had that conversation too. That you have to like take responsibility. It's like you are responsible for everything. You should have picked a better partner. You should have screened better. You should have handled the bullshit better. That's like number one. You're responsible.
I think that let's talk about it. I think women are designed to enjoy being seduced. And with that said, now most women, they know The reason why they say, hey, listen, I got a boyfriend, and they say it vehemently or they say just fuck off, is because they know, maybe not consciously, but like unconsciously, let's just arbitrarily say they start hanging out with you, right? Eventually they're going to do something wrong to damage the thing that they truly care about, right? A good woman doesn't put herself in a position where she could potentially fall in to let's just say sin, right? And that's their job as a man to fucking build a fire and then watch the perimeter against the enemy.
Yeah.
And as you get better as a man, you build walls, you build a home. Home eventually becomes a castle. You gather the troops, you find your generals, your woman becomes, she becomes the princess in her personal growth. You're still the goddamn king, right? Or maybe you're the prince and you happen to have a father who built the fire a little while ago and he's bringing you up to take over his kingdom, right? All the good things he's taught you. But even if you had nothing, you came from zero. You were in the fucking slums. You have to, at some point in time, you have to decide to yourself, I'm gonna go build my fire, and I'm gonna watch the perimeter. And you only have a fucking stick that's sharp.
Yeah.
Eventually, through you never played like Ages of Empire, where it's just like you have this like shitty fucking village and like two villagers. That's what you are as a man. You came from nothing, and your job is to build something.
Yeah.
Period. That's what other dudes have a problem. Like they want a woman. They want to go build, man. We all have different roles. You gotta stop. You gotta stop confusing the two.
Yeah. Well, and that's why like the feminist woman doesn't like the feminist man. Yeah, you got different things to do. And it's why those people are unhappy. That's why when the woman wants to be the man, that they're single. That's why everybody they're with, it doesn't go well. It's not good. But it's fine. You choose whatever path you want. If that's your thing, you want to be the man. If you want to put a skirt on your husband, that's okay. People just choose death.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I'm all about the peace and love. It's all, it's all good. But then you can say that, and then you can go work your ass off and get what all you can take, and there you go. There's all there is to it.
And that's it.
Yeah, I mean that's why people that like build shit, they don't care what other people are doing. They don't. They just focus on doing their own thing. Like they're not telling other people what to do or how to live or whatever.
They're just getting after themselves, right?
They're too busy.
You find your guys that want to go with you. You keep on going.
Yeah. They don't wonder.
They want to stop, then hey, you keep going.
Yeah.
They'll just eventually fade away. That's what we talked about, like when people say cut off people who are like stupid in your life or whatever it is. Like when people just dumb. Cut out the people who are negative in your life.
Yeah.
No. It's not like that. Just do so much positive shit. You don't have time for them. And because you're so positive, they'll just eliminate themselves for you.
Yeah.
Because they won't be able to relate to you anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happened to a lot of my friends from high school is like, they were like, you'll never be anybody without us. And the only reason why anything good happens to you is because of us. And then I think me, you, and then a friend from high school, I went to like the Kershaw knife thing. And then we went back to work the next day, and you're like, hey, man, this guy's a piece of shit. You got to cut this guy off. Like, this guy's a terrible human being. And I was like I could see it at the time, but I didn't know that like you could do a lot of things we can do now. So, but looking back on it, I was just like, this man called it out day one. He was like, yeah, no, this guy got it. You got to get better quality friends.
I don't even remember that at all, dude.
It was a game changer. That was a good time. But it's like,
I
when they
remember that
see
at
me
all.
now, or like they'll peek my Instagram story and stuff and see the stuff I'm doing, and then when I come home and I see them, in the street or whatever at the grocery store, I mean they're like looking away, or they're they're upset. They tell me that like oh you didn't actually do that, or like, oh, it's not real, and then I laugh, and then I get my eggs and I go home.
Deuces.
See you later.
That's funny, dude. They want to accuse you of being a liar.
But it's like, I don't want no beef, man, dude. I'm all about it. I'm all about the peace and love. I don't get this whole why you got to resent people that aren't in your life anymore.
It's unneeded and unnecessary. They eliminate themselves.
Yeah, let's go build something. Fuck.
That's really funny that I said that to you. Though. I don't remember. I literally don't remember that at all. Dude.
Yeah, it was.
You told me some stories in the last few months of us, getting ready to do our next level stuff that we're doing now. Some stories that I did that. What?
You said it earlier. It's like, well, if I would have known now or if I'd known then what I know now, and then you see these stories, and you're like, well, we do it. We do. If we did the things in the story, we must have known.
Yeah.
So I can't even say like, oh yeah, I wish I had cut off my friend sooner. It's like, I wish I'd known to do that. And then I think about these times where it's like, that literally was like verbatim spoken. It's like, I gotta listen more.
I was talking to my father today, right? Father's Day. And I was telling him how much I appreciate him. How much he has done the right things. And I was sharing with him a story about this guy I was listening to his talk. It was a talk about how to escape the West. But or no, it was a different talk. It was about whether or not you want to purchase like a book. Somebody spent their entire life learning about something. They became, let's just say, an expert at it, and they decided to write a book about all their lessons, all the times they took a left turn as opposed to a right one. And they're telling you in this book, you should turn right. Don't go left. And they're selling you this book. They're fucking the gold nuggets. The golden nuggets. The golden nuggets. In this $7 book. And you wanna argue about $7 goddamn dollars. But let's just say you buy it. And he says go right. But you decide to go left. Now, my father has told me sometimes to go right. And for whatever fucking reason, I decided to go left, and I fell into a pit, and I was telling my father, it's like, I am so thankful that you were there, because sometimes you came over to me and when I was like stuck in the pit, and I would have gotten myself out. You know me. But because I have a good father that built a fire a whole long time ago, he's like, what are you doing? He reaches his hand in there and he grabs me, he pulls me out of the hole, dusts me off, welcome back. Don't do that again, right? And you're like, yes, sir. Charlie Mike, let's go, right? And I was telling the story to him, and I just like, I'm so thankful to know that you were there. And when I become a father, I'm going to think about how you were a father to me. And that's how I'm going to be as a father. I hit him hard today. Yeah. Fucking 2 pieces and a biscuit. But I meant it, man. And I take that serious. And I think to myself, as a leader of men, that's my job, dude. That's my job. I gotta do what my father told me to do. He said, do your best. Be better. Take care of your people.
Yeah.
Okay. Done. Along the way, I learned a lot of lessons, right? Which is really funny. It was like I was having this conversation with my buddy Quentin way back in the day. It was when I was in high school, and it was I think it was like senior year, or whatever it was. Quentin, he took me out to lunch, and he sat me down. He's like, Eric, I remember when I became a good employee at Discount Tire. And I'm like, yeah? Like, when was that? And he's like, it was the day you stopped yelling at me. And I was like, I yelled at you? What are you talking about? He's like, you used to chew my ass out every day. And I'm like, really? Dude, Quentin, I love you. What are you talking about, dude? You're just making shit up now, right? And it made me laugh so hard. It warmed my soul. I was like, damn, dude. That was a good compliment. It was funny as hell. You know? I even think you said something similar to that effect, right? I never had anybody yelling at me, you know?
You say that, and my caveat to that would be, I knew I made it when you stopped yelling at me, and I started yelling
at me. Yeah, you added, you know, more.
Yeah.
You know, I always loved you, man. I had nothing but deep affection for you. I thought you were just a dope motherfucker, but I just wanted you to be better. Yeah. But I think right around the time when, you know, Tay and I split up, when I fell into the ravine or the cavern or whatever the fuck you want to say, and you were with me, you know, for those 8 long months. You know, we didn't miss a workout while I was traveling all over America, you know, just getting the fuck after it like a goddamn gangster.
Yeah.
You know? That's when I knew. That's when I'm like, that's when I knew you were yelling at me, and I was like, yeah.
That's what I came for.
You know, that non-compassionate love. That's my most fucking favorite. You know, like I really when I talk to people about being like when I talk about you being my workout partner and why I really love it is because when you tell me like when we're working out and it's my turn, right? We're doing my workout, right? Because just so you guys know, we do a full body workout, total failure, and we do one person at a time, right? Sometimes I work you out first. Sometimes you work me out first. It doesn't matter, right? But when it's my turn to be the guy under the press, right? And I'm struggling, and I don't think my body doesn't want to do another one, right? And my mind is saying, nah, right? Because I push myself pretty damn hard. Don't get me wrong. But then you say another one again, you know, and I'm like, at that point in time, I defer. This is one of the only times I ever defer my will to my buddy. When he says again, I guess I'm doing it again. And I ignore the pain in my body. I ignore what my spirit is telling me. No more, right? No. But my buddy who loves me, knows I'm in pain. He sees me shaking. You see my arm shaking as I'm trying to do another bench press. And you say again. Okay, again it is. Another one. Okay, again. For the gods, you know, again, you know. And I pushed past every limit that I thought was there because you know when like it's about to like actually fail, right? Like you almost know me, you know my ability to like push myself better than I do. You know, you and I have worked out enough together to where we not only we recognize effort, but we also recognize failure, like in the good term of failure, right? Because like I've had other people work out with me, and I'm like, you stopped early, man.
Yeah.
You had another 3 reps in you. What are you doing?
Yeah, and I think that also comes from like just a good workout partner. You see them; they got to hustle on their own. You don't do that for somebody who doesn't have that. Like you're not saying again 18 times because they quit. You know, when they had 18 left in them. You know, that's gross. I don't want to do that. But when the guy needs it, and you put that extra bit of bass in your voice, and you give him the NCO shout, and and it's again, it's not again. It's like, oh, hey, let's do it again. It's like again, you're like, let's go, fucking,
again,
yeah, you're yelling at him. And people at the gym think that this big buff brown dude is a bully and the skinny white guy. And everybody's like looking at him funny. He didn't care. He's just like looking at you over at the leg press machine, just shouting in your ear.
Yeah, and your legs are fucking just shaking. You're dripping sweat, and you're like, I can see your facial affect is in pain. I don't give a fuck. Again. Yeah. I love it, dude.
And on the topic of who goes first, definitely can be like a tactical choice, because if you go second and you just lay into the guy the whole time, don't think he's gonna go easy on you. He's like,
yes. You think to yourself, like, oh, it's gonna be that kind of day? Okay. Wait till it's your turn, you motherfucker, right? It's such a funny thing, because like in that target of non-compassion, it's the most compassionate thing that you can do.
Yeah.
You always you train harder than what the actual battle is like.
Yeah.
Because then it makes the battle or the game or whatever easier, because you trained harder in a controlled environment.
He who sweats most in training bleeds less in battle.
Fuck, dude, that's awesome, dude. Dude, you just changed my life. I got goosebumps right now, dude.
It's important, dude. That's why if you train till you can't train anymore. There's no training left. I'll tell you. That's why you go to failure, because you get it all.
You give it all.
That's the evolution of the man. Is in those moments. Is those are the failures that you go and you bag like 13 of them a morning.
I mean, shit. The reason why everyone likes like the Rocky movies is because he goes from wherever he's at, he gets his ass kicked, and then he starts to train. And you see his evolution.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it's contrived and that's a movie, and you only get to see an hour of it. But in reality, maybe that training's 2 years. Maybe it's 5.
Yeah.
Maybe you're hungry, you're fucking cold, and you're surrounded by enemies. You're in a pit of snakes. You're surrounded by fucking snakes, and they're all trying to kill you. Here's a little piece of love and a whole lot of hate, as Tech9 says. You just got to keep fucking going. Keep building that fire. Because eventually it's going to get so hot, it's going to burn all the goddamn snakes away.
Yeah. And you're going to change your settings, and then you're going to be where you want to be.
Yeah.
When I was talking to my boss the other day and had that conversation. I didn't say it, but I was thinking this thought, so I can tell you. He was the reason why, like, if you fail out and then now you're happy that, or and you go somewhere and you're happy there, and you're comfortable and you choose to be comfortable, and everybody says make the most of it, so you're like, oh, everybody's telling me to do it, so I make the most of it. Those people, they get comfortable and they never go anywhere. But the people that get there, and that everyone that's supposed to be their new friend, they make their enemy, and they make it uncomfortable, and they're out in the cold, and they're freezing their ass off because it's minus 35 degrees, and your dick's inside of you, and you're hating every minute of it. Those are the guys that get out of it. Those are the guys that do it. Is when you just choose to make it uncomfortable. Even like you could tweak it and you create your own reality and you make it better than it is. Or you could make it worse than it is, and you choose to make it harder, and you have so much friction in your life that when that door opens and that modicum of a window opens up for you to get out, you'll squeeze through the tube for a while. Who cares?
One of my most favorite movies is called Undisputed. I think it's Undisputed 3. for this guy. His name is Boyka, you know. And in the second movie, he loses, right? But in the third movie, he gets sent to a prison in, I think, South America, and it's going to be like a tournament of all the best fighters around the world, right? Underground fighters. And the prison warden is in on it, and that he is betting on his guy, who he lets relax all day, right? And all the other prisoners have to go and work the labor camps during the day in the heat with little water and almost no food. And the American, which is eventually becomes Boyka's friend, is just bitching and moaning. And Boyka has already gone through his evolution. He knows training is the way to go, right? And he teaches the new guy, the American. He's like, sure, you could think of it as labor, or you can think of it as training, right? And like the music changes, and it goes back to them during the day camp, fucking working harder than ever, you know, because they're doing what they're giving it all. And then when they get back from training, they only get 1 hour of gym time a day. They go in, they put their hour in, they keep training, and then they go to bed. They rest for the next day, and they go do it again. The lesson here is to train.
Yeah. I had a thought going back to like we're talking about like the origin stories and things like that. Well, I used to work like all my friends like didn't really have jobs and stuff, and eventually they had to. They got to the point where they were young adults and they had to get their first job, and I'd been working for years. You know, while they were partying and spending mom and dad's money, I was working with you. You know, we were busting our ass off for hours and hours and hours, and we had like we're like different shops under the same like dealership, and I worked at one shop, and I was the only lube tech. It was just me, like for the whole shop. That was my niche. That's what I did. And then they had like 3 people, and they were all like part-time employees, and in 1 week, I think I tripled their work. Like I did 3 times the work by myself than like 3 people did all week, and I was just, and that's like, you know, when you're training, you're busting your ass off. You're like, you have to, right? Like you got to achieve, and then you know they can kind of relax and slump off. Like there's 3 of them. Like of course they're going to get it done. And in 1 week, I did 3 times the work, and you know my boss came to me and he put the printout of everything they got done and the printout of everything I got done, and they're like, and this is why you're here. This is why you kick ass. And that's all I had to say. And because they're, you know, they don't train, they don't hustle, dude. And that was some fuel. That was, you bet your ass I fucking kicked ass after that.
Yeah,
it feels good, dude. It feels good to get to the end of the movie sometimes.
It does, man, and I think life provides that. They give those moments of opportunity. I mean, shoot, I've had those moments, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, you were #1 salesman on the West Coast.
Yeah, you're goddamn right. You're goddamn right, I was. You know, and I had a fucking fantastic time when they sent me to Dominican Republic for it too.
Hell yeah!
You know. Yeah.
I was thinking about that the other day when I was.
You go.
I was thinking about that the other day, and you know, when I was getting talked to by my boss the other day, he was another thing I didn't say, but I was thinking in the back of my mind is it's like the reason why I don't get along with these people is because like I think about my friends, and it's like one of my best buddies is like the #1 sales guy in his thing. Like he's just such an ass kicker that he's like #1 in like his huge achievement. And he just goes to the next thing, and then he just kicks ass, and is like the fucking top dog, just whatever. And it's like, those are the people I'd want to hang out with. Like as a guy who wants to be better, those that like I pick and choose those people, and those are the people I want to hang out with. Like there's some gangster ass dudes, and then I'm meeting Aiden and David and whatnot, and I'm like,
you're doing the same shit.
To know these dudes.
Exactly. I mean, Aiden was killing it. When he figured out how to sell at the one of his evolutions was I was inside the computer lab when I was up north in Tacoma doing army stuff, and I was just in there, and I was working on my my marketing stuff, right? They didn't need a medic that day, and I was like, I'm gonna go fucking disappear in the computer lab and do work. I'm gonna go pay some dues, right? So I'm in there working. He comes in, he sits down, and what's up, Aiden? How's it going? He tells me that he's been struggling at this fencing place, and for like 2.5 hours, 3 hours, or whatever it was, we talked about sales, because that's something that, obviously I was at the dealership, and I was murdering, right? I took all kinds of courses, I read a bunch of books, and these guys who sell these courses for cheap for $7 goddamn. And they tell you the answer is, they say go right. I took that and I started going right.
Yeah.
And I started killing it. And so I gave that knowledge to him, and you know what he did? He went off and he fucking killed it. And I think a part of the reason why he loves me nowadays is because he that Eric motherfucker, dude, he likes me. He cared about me enough to tell me the thing that no one else wanted to say. You suck and you need to change.
Those are my favorite words you said today. You suck and you need to change.
And like, don't you fret. Let's train together. I'll go with you. I'll go down the path.
What is it? Criticism plus sweetness. You suck. You need to change, but I love you. Let's go. I got you.
Let's go,
dude.
With
you. I suck too. Let's change.
Let's get better, dude. I mean, shit, dude. Like, this one of the stories I think you told in the first talk or second talk or whatever it was. He said, I called you, and it was like a real serious, and because you're like, usually it's either this kind of call, or I'm like, yo man, what's going on, da da da, or it's like, hey man, I need to talk to you. I present the story, I tell you the lesson, and I'm like, I suck, I need to change. I don't normally say like I suck, I need to change. That's just something unwritten, right? Like that's the thing, and I know I just failed and I need to change. Let's go do some work, right? And you're like, okay, done. And I'm like, fuck, that's why I love you so much, dude. You have no idea. You have no idea, man. I tell you motherfuckers every single time I talk to you, I'm like, fuck, you guys are the best. It just makes me think to myself, I have to work harder, I have to work harder, because now I got to take care of my guys too. My guys are taking care of me. I can't put that to waste.
Yeah, earlier you talked about how like you'd fall into the pit and your dad would like pull you up and like dust you off and send you off. And,
yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, how is it for me? And the lesson I learned is that when you fall down in the pit, is that you feel so much shame and that you can't ask for help. That the only choice you have is to climb out of the pit and then tell the story about how shitty that thing is and don't fall in it.
Hey, that's happened too, man. That's a part of a life as a man. Sometimes you don't have a buddy who just happens to witness it. And if they don't witness it and you still dig yourself, I've dug myself out of my own pits plenty of times. But there's some big pits that I fell into that my father was witness to. You know what I mean? I like what you're saying. I don't discount it at all. You know what I mean? I just want to add to it in that there are things that you have to do by yourself. And there are things that you don't necessarily have to do by yourself as well. And you should take advantage of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, we don't even think of failure the same anymore. When I present something that's a problem to you, I've already partially dug myself out of it. I already know the plan that I'm working, and I share the idea with you, and I'm like, am I going the right direction? I trust. Am I a person? Am I soul? Am I spirit? Because I have the experience of the last however many years I've been hustling. But at the same token of time, I've also built up a bunch of other killers that know me at my best, that probably know me better than I know myself, and that what I'm capable of, right? Like the person who is you are the least qualified person to tell you how qualified you are. But like, even when you call me with a problem, you don't call me with like, hey, Eric, this is it's not like that. It's like, this bullshit happened. This is what I'm going to do about it, or this is what I did about it, and this is what happened. And then we break it down.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like this. What if you had done this? I bet you if this had happened, this would have been the proper answer, you know? And then we take those lessons and then we change and then we move forward and we apply those new principles.
And
So
we take that when we take that lesson to the other person, we just multiply it. Like, because not only did we solve the direct line problem, but then like the tree that comes with it, and then there's like value added. You know, it's a multiplier in that way, and it also takes away the shame. You know, there's no, if I come to you and I already have the solution, or like, you know, this is what I did, blah blah blah. There's no I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel bad that I told you about this problem I had, and then, you know, this is how I think I'm gonna fix it, and then you're like, yeah, that's a good idea, or like, no, that shit's fucking stupid. You know, you didn't think about this, and then you're like, oh well, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I didn't think about that. And there's no shame in that. I mean, if you come to somebody, you know, as a man, as a responsible man, there's no shame. It's the shame comes from, I'm lost, I don't know what to do, I'm helpless. You know, that's the
I'm choosing death.
That's choosing death. You know, oh my god, I'm drowning. Please, somebody throw me anything that floats. You know, versus like, all right, this is wrong. We need to unfuck this.
But this is also why you build your friends up. This is why you have a core set of dudes, because you don't just bring, even if you have, let's say, for instance, you've solved 85% of your shame. You have about 15% shame left. And you know that you're going to get rid of it, but it's about time you tell your buddy, right? Your brother, right? And he says, what are you talking about, dude? You're good to go. Let it go. You know what? You're right. Instead of it taking 3 months to get rid of that last 15%, it took you 2 days because of a brother that you built up for the last 15 years or 12 years or however long you've been friends with somebody that you've been hustling with. And the reason why you guys are all super special is because we're all on the cutting edge in the things that we do, and we also enjoy getting
Similar
at
hobbies.
him and, you know, some other sideline hobbies we find to be just incredible, right? Good to fucking go. But that matters. Why do people have mentors? Why did Aristotle have his mentor? Why did Alexander the Great have his mentor? Why did Mike Tyson have his mentor? Why did Michael Jordan have, you know, what's his name, Dan Glover or whatever his name is, the guy who wrote Relentless? Everybody who was great had his mentor. You know who? What's his name? Anthony, the guy who's like, not the Power of Now, but that's Eckhart Tolle. I'm talking about. Damn it! Hold on. Everybody has a mentor.
Yeah, and there's no shame in having a mentor. Like if you spent your whole lifetime to learn everything on your own, and you didn't learn from anybody else's experiences, you would be in the same shoes, if not behind your mentor.
Anthony Robbins. You know who that is?
No.
Well, or Tony Robbins. Still no?
No.
Okay. Well, he's a pretty famous, like, he wrote the book called Awaken the Giant Within You. He's just a real super tall guy. In the self-help kind of realm, he's like really, really popular. But you know, his mentor was Jim Rohn. I like Jim Rohn. You listen to him, like pull up some Jim Rohn videos, and you'll really enjoy it. It's pretty fucking good. I love the way that guy speaks. JIMROHN, Jim Rohn. Right? A mentor cuts your learning curve. Another brother who's a killer cuts your learning curve. For those of you who really enjoy Dragon Ball Z, why does Goku and Vegeta get better so fucking fast? Because they're rivals. They push each other.
Yeah.
You know? And they always have mentors in the show. They always have a new master.
something I was talking about getting better enemies to my old man, and he added on to it. He said, "People don't judge you by your friends. People judge you by your enemies. People want to see how skilled you are. They look at who you defeated. They don't look at who you hang out with."
I mean, think of the old rivalries, right? In Roman history, Scipio and Hannibal.
Yeah.
Like that's the only one I can think of right now, but they're there.
Competition breeds some new shit. Like, I mean, that's why all the cool technology comes out of war. And we go to war, and then we end up with cell phones.
100%. And George Friedman, look that fucking up. That's 100%, dude.
I think I did listen to a George Friedman talk. I think you actually turned me on to that one.
Yeah, I sent you that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I sent you when you were leaving Colorado Springs this year.
Yeah. That was a good talk. That was I still lean on that bit of information.
I really like that. I like that one because that was pretty damn insightful because it kind of showed you that, dude, we've been making the same mistakes every goddamn generation.
Yeah.
Those deep lessons. The men who learn those lessons die, and those problems that arise after they pass away, and so we have to relearn it as a society. We're doing it right now, as is. Right now.
Yeah.
And even the people that survived, they're not big enough and loud enough to teach. Chaos will arrive soon. It will.
Yeah. And it's a forever cat and mouse game. I mean, when like airplanes became a thing and like dropping bombs was a thing, then it started with every once in a while they wouldn't blow up, and then they would go out and they'd handle it, and then the Germans got a little smarter, and then they were like, all right, well, we're gonna make bombs they're supposed to look like they don't blow up, and then when the guy comes out to fuck with it, they'll blow up, and then delayed fusing became a thing, and then now that's a thing. Yeah, it's just it's a cat and mouse game. If you can scare them, it's just as good. Problem multipliers. That's the thing. That's the game. That applies to life. Like as a man on Earth, those are the lessons. Those are the takeaways. The things that people died for. As a civilized man in Western society, you still got to learn the lessons.
Yeah. I'm gonna go on a walk with my father here. I just heard the front door close. I'm like, "You leaving?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm going for a walk."
Well, it is his day. You're on his time.
So, I don't know how long we recorded for.
Well,
we're on a 2.5 hour, but probably hour 45. Yeah. Math.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I'm gonna end it out by telling you how much I fucking care about you. I don't know why the world fucking wants to look down upon you. I don't understand. They don't do it nowadays. No, they don't do it nowadays. Your son, the son that you are, right? The fucking the star, I should say. I know it sounds kind of silly, but think of it in terms of like
astrology.
Cosmos, not astrology. Astrology or astronomy?
Astronomy, yeah.
Yeah. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure it's astronomy.
It is.
Okay. You're a smart motherfucker, man. I really enjoy your perspective. I love the way you challenge it. And one of the biggest things I learned this week when I was out in Miami is there was a moment in time when David and I were talking to a certain someone that they had asked us a question, and we both had solid answers to that question, and we were in complete disagreements. Which was kind of funny. And there's sometimes, I mean, obviously the majority of stuff that we talk about is pretty much all on the same scale. It just comes down to like a difference of opinion, like how we describe something.
Yeah.
but the majority of the time we can see how the other person thinks about it, right? We see their point and why they chose that language because they defend it. They're like, okay, I can go with that. I can use that scale. You know, it's like a difference of how to measure something. Like if you like, listen, this is why I like to use meters as opposed to inches. And I say, hey, this is why I like to use inches. And you're like, well, is either measuring tool wrong? Not necessarily. They're just two different scales. Now you know when to use meters because this other guy says this is actually best for this. This is what I've done. And he says, oh, I see why you use that because for these reasons. Makes total sense.
Yeah, listen.
As far as on the universal stuff, the things that we talk about, you know, we're all in agreement. The reason why we're all killers, we're all fucking friends, is because we're all doing the same shit. We're all going to that same fucking goal. We're all pushing each other to be better. So it goes without saying. I don't know if I've said it before, dude. I got fucking love for you, man, and I'm super appreciative of you, of my brother, of David, and of Aiden, right? And I'm excited for when we can get all the team members on. Everybody's busy right now. My brother's really busy because he just had a baby, so we might not get in for a little while. I talked to him today, and I was like, "You gonna be able to get on?" He said, "Nah, I can't." Like, he's got
new human problems.
He's got new baby problems. So, all right, hold on. You back?
Yeah, where you going? Let's go.
Okay, on the way. Moving. That's it, man. Episode number 4.
Yeah, this is a good one.
It's a good one. I'll shoot you a text when I get back.
Just cool. All right.
Good?
Nothing more for you, man. Talk to you later.
Hell yeah, dude. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye.